back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and let me adjust this just real quick. There we go. Welcome back. Whoa. Okay. It's not quite how I want it to be, but it'll work. It'll do. Okay, better. I got the lighting right. Okay, well, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we're back for another episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 10. This is episode 15, and it's called The Rocky Road to Sisterhood. And this was a really good episode. I definitely enjoyed watching this. Honestly, if I was to rank the Housewives shows, it's Salt Lake City, Potomac, first, second, like it's like not too far away from each other just because the vibes are different when it comes to the shows. And then we already know how I feel about Beverly Hills right now. I'm not interested. But yeah, this was a little bit of a mini Beverly Hills crossover. So that's kind of why I also wanted to call that out. Because Mauricio made an appearance on this show because of them being in Aspen. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the episode. So they're on their way to the PJ to go to Aspen, and Angel's in the car. She's talking to Tia and Kay, and she finds out because Jazzy already told her what Monique was saying about Monique's response to Angel saying she needed to check in to see if Bobby can watch the kids, and she feels away because she feels like Monique's projecting, which she is. And is really none of her business. And so really at this point, Angel's feeling defensive about really everything that comes to her because she feels like she's on the attack. And she also doesn't like that Monique and really any of the ladies are looking at her marriage. But again, this is one of those things I'm just like, Angel, have you not watched the show? When it comes to Angel, I want to be on her side. That's what kind of bothers me. And I really do, at this point, I do want her to have a second chance. I want her to get the chance to prove herself on this show. So I do want her to come back next season. But I'm going to need her to change how she's been moving. Just because it's not, I don't know, she needs to change things around for herself, for sure. But because I do want to be on her side. And also, too, later on in the episode, it did become too much because they are piling on Angel now. But part of it is she kind of brought this on herself based off of what happened. But I am curious when it comes to that situation. So for those who missed the last episode, we already know like Giselle and all the ladies minus Tia and Kay who stayed with Angel have horrible accommodations. It's like the worst. They don't have any running water, which in real life I would be upset. I would not be okay either. But how much of the planning and accommodations was Angel's? How much of it was Angel's and how much of it was production? That's what I would like to know. But of course, we're not going to know that. But I do want to know that. And maybe in the reunion, we'll get some of that cleared up. But that's kind of where we're at with that. But anyway, so that's happening. Back to the whole Angel and Monique projecting thing. And then in the car, Stacey and Jazzy are talking about it. And Stacey's calling out. She's like, I don't think it has anything to do with Bobby checking in and all that. She's like, I think Angel does not want to get to know us. I think she's over us and she doesn't like us and she is over trying to get to know us. And honestly, we already know because we saw the footage, that's the true answer. But she's trying to use Bobby as an excuse, which is she's not doing herself any favors doing that. Instead of just standing on business and her just telling the truth about it. And then Monique elaborates on her thoughts. She's like, Monique is trying to make it known, which I don't know how well she's doing. I kind of am just like, you're a little too late to clean it up. But Monique's trying to clean up what she's saying because Monique found out that Jazzy told Angel what she said. Because Wendy found out and told Monique. So Monique's bothered because of the fact that the way Jazzy brought the conversation up, it comes off really messy. But according to Monique, she was really, truly not coming from that place. She was really coming from a place of concern. And because at this point is wag talk. It's the lifestyle of dating an athlete. And all three of them, Jazzy, Monique, and Angel, have different perspectives behind that. So there's that. Anyway. But yeah, so Monique's annoyed by Jazzy for basically bone carrying. And then also in the same car, Giselle's complaining. Because she's just like, she's so mad about the accommodations, which, again, I understand it. I would not be okay with it either. But I also don't do group trips, so for me, it would be pretty easy for me to like adjust. I would just find somewhere to stay. But who really wants to have to do that? You know, it's just a hassle. So anyway, fast forward, they do finally get to the jet, and immediately Angel apologizes. It is not well received, and rightfully so. It is not well received. All the ladies start coming at her neck because, and they're not really just coming off at her neck, they're actually coming at like Tia and Kay, because all the ladies are just really perturbed and annoyed that none of the women reached out to them to make sure they were okay, which is one of the main reasons why they should have never done this trip where they're staying at completely separate accommodations where they're an hour away. That was already a nightmare waiting to happen. Like, what kind of girls trip is that? That's not a girls trip. That's weird. It would have, an Angel would have done herself a much better service to herself if all of them were staying in that other house that, was not good accommodations. Because at least when it comes to that, it's like they're all in the trenches together. And so they could kind of try to figure it out. And then it comes more off as a genuine concern. And it comes off more as I didn't know. Whereas in Angel's case, it could look a certain way, that she did this on purpose. I don't think that's what happened, but it could come off that way, especially since these women are all just getting to know Angel. They don't really know her. So, yeah. They're all just upset with her. And Kay tries to be the voice of reason in her confessional. She's like, look, these accommodations, I know the accommodations are horrible, but let's be for real. There's been other trips where the accommodations were accommodating, so what are we talking about? And Kay, if the running water was not the problem, I would agree with her. But for me, once running water is no longer on the table, you lose me. I don't. A bunk bed, I will sleep in a bunk bed over not having running water. Yes, a bunk bed versus having a queen or king size bed, that's first world problems. But like not having running water, now we're like talking, those are basic needs, okay? None of them signed up to go camping. If it was a camping trip, okay. Because but this is what we're here for. But this is Housewives. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I agreed. And Stacey the whole entire time is going off along with Wendy, along with, like, they're all tag teaming Angel, because it really did come off as a lack of concern because she never reached out to them directly. None of them called them. And Tia apologized because Tia felt bad. Tia was trying to, help Angel out, but then she also apologized on her behalf. And later on, Kay ended up doing the same thing because Kay finally did speak up out loud, trying to, squash a beef. And she's just like, hey, can we toast? And and Stacey and her Detroit was coming out this whole entire episode, and I was loving it. Stacey's like, toast, what are we toasting? The fuck you mean? Like, Like the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck you mean? I was like, yeah, what do you mean? We're not toasting right now, you know? Yeah. And so Kay finally did kind of elaborate and then apologize, and they finally did toast. But the whole entire time, it was like pretty much a back and forth this whole entire time on this jet. And then also too, Angel kept trying to say she was working the whole entire morning trying to get them better accommodations. And Giselle's like, you don't think I did that? Which I agree. And so she's like, yeah, we're staying at the Four Seasons. That's it. That's all. Like, she's already got the accommodations. It's fine. We're going to be staying at the Four Seasons. We're not going to be doing this again. And so that's kind of what happened here. And yeah. So that's kind of, I guess, what else happened here? Oh, yeah. That was kind of it before they finally squashed it. And when I mean squashed it, they barely squashed it. It really didn't get squashed because clearly they're still heated and still upset. Because also when they were going on the jet, the ladies were apologizing to the three ladies because they're just like, I'm sorry, we might stink because we didn't get to shower. And I'm like, it's day 2 on the trip. So you mean to tell me these women didn't get to shower for 2 days? Going back and forth? And can you imagine some of these women, which I don't know, but I would think maybe Ashley or maybe Wendy, because they're all like a little bit on the younger side. Can you imagine any of these women possibly being on their period and they aren't able to shower and freshen up and whatnot? I would be fuming. Because I know I was stank. I know I was stank if I wasn't able to do that and being on my period, because that makes it worse. You know what I mean? You already feel disgusting when you're on your period. And yeah. You already know how I feel about it. So then, okay. They try to lighten the mood, and Jazzy basically kind of goes and elaborates about her being a flight attendant. And she basically is doing the flight attendant spiel while they're on the jet. It's kind of cute. And then Stacy was talking about her contacts. They kind of talked about this side story, which, by the way, the interaction between Giselle, Stacy, and Ashley, I've been saying it. I've been calling it out all season. Giselle likes Stacy. She is just doing this thing that she does because Giselle's a mean girl. But she actually likes Stacy. Because I think she also realizes how important Stacy is to the show. And Stacy has been really doing a good job when it comes to the show. Like Stacy, I think Giselle, I will hope Giselle is smart enough to realize, oh my gosh, Stacy, but I really wish she would have did a better job of it this season. She could have easily had Stacy be her Karen. Because like they have that kind of like frenemy thing going on. But because Giselle doesn't know how to not be a mean girl, she went more mean girl versus frenemy territory. But so anyway, they're kind of getting along. And Stacy talks about how she accidentally ate her contact lenses. It was kind of funny. And honestly, I think the reason why Stacy and Giselle and Ashley are getting along a little bit better because of the Monique factor. I think Monique is kind of helping that, be better. At least I'm seeing that. Because when it's all 4 of them, when they're getting along, it is more enjoyable to watch. That's just my opinion. So yeah. But also, too, we already know how Giselle is. Giselle is another target, so she doesn't have to deal with it. So she's not doing this to Stacy anymore. Because Giselle always has a mean girl target. Because she's a mean girl. So, yeah. Anyway. So, they finally do get to Aspen. And they go to this whiskey lounge. And then here, they immediately... Monique kind of breaks the silence as she, talks to Angel about the Bobby of it all. But before she does that, she asks Jazzy, why did she tell Angel? And Jazzy's like, because I felt like she needed to know. And Monique's like, I've said multiple times I was going to talk to her directly. And Monique did say that, and she has been saying that she was going to just talk to Angel directly. And so now she is having the conversation, but the problem is we already know Angel's now on the defense now because of how this was brought to her. And so, you know, Angel's like, my relationship's fulfilled. I'm not coming from an empty, dark place. So leave it alone. She was respectable the whole entire time she was talking to Monique, because Monique did not come with her with malice or anything. She basically was just saying how she was just sharing her experience and was hoping that their experience is not the same. And Jazzy was like, well, the reason why I brought it up because of concern, also because I myself am a wag. And I really wish she would have shared this in front of the table instead of confessional, because I think what Jazzy is saying a little bit is actually more accurate. Is when it comes to a lot of the rag women, they get lost in themselves because they're so involved in the lifestyle and this image of being a wag wife that they lose themselves. And I actually see that is a little bit of Angel, because we know this whole entire time on this show. She's like, Bobby, 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 Bobby. She talks about Bobby constantly. It's a lot. And you know, that's great. She loves her husband, but there's other women on the show that have husbands and don't talk about them like that. Like Wendy's married, Stacy back with her ex-husband. Like the women have been on, you know, it's giving for Angel, her husband, her being a wag is her identity. But I also think that's actually maybe the reason why Angel wanted to be on the show, because she is trying to find her own identity. I think it's twofold. But I just wish Jazzy would have said that identity thing out loud, because I think that is what it is. She hit the nail on the head when she said that. Anyway. So then from there, Jazzy getting the party started some more. And she's like, yeah, I'm just kind of taken aback that why was Tia in your house and not me? And Tia's like, wait, Tia's looking like, why? How did I catch a stray? She caught a direct stray, because she basically said Tia staying at Angel's house was a default. And Jazzy was like, well, the reason why is because we've been talking about for weeks prior to the trip that I was going to stay in the house. And Angel had this excuse about how there just wasn't enough accommodations for all of them. And so it really didn't explain anything of why that got switched over. I have a hunch that had to do with Kay, because Kay and Jazzy don't get along. I think that's really what it is. And sorry, side note, if I'm blinking, I feel like this eye's been irritating me all morning. So if I'm blinking, I apologize. I don't know what to do about this eye, but it has been irritating me all morning. Anyway, but I kind of think that's what it is. I think Kay has something to do with Jazzy not staying in the house. And so they defaulted to Tia. And at the after show, it's funny because clearly Tia and Jazzy are cool now. And they kind of laugh it off. It was like, yeah, it was giving the boys mind like they're fighting over the same man. Because what they found out after they started talking to each other the after show, Angel was doing the same thing to both of them and they didn't know it. So Jazzy was truly taken aback that she wasn't staying at Angel's house. And so she was trying to fix her face about it, but she couldn't fix her face. And Tia's like, okay, well, that explains a lot. Like, I thought you were just like, I was like, what? How am I getting it? Like, she was like, why am I getting attacked? Like, it felt like an attack. And she's like, no, it wasn't meant to be an attack towards you. It was more or less about Angel and the lack of her standing on business. And then speaking of standing on business, Wendy came through on Clutch, and Wendy said what all of us been trying to say, girl, just say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, if you don't want to hang out with us, just say, I don't F with you, and this is why you're not staying here. You and you and you and you and you are not staying here. Just say that. Also, similar to like the staying the night thing, the slumber party thing that they were going to do. Just say that you don't F with us. Just say it. Say it plainly. And Angel's still trying to backtrack and say, no, that's not what it is. No, no, no. And all the women are just over her at this point because they don't believe her. Because her actions and her words are not matching. And that's kind of the truth. That is the truth. And I do agree with what Wendy said. But at this point now, because Giselle still has a nasty attitude, like all the women are still clearly mad at her. And now it's just coming off as a pile-on. And so Angel does eventually break down and start crying. And because they basically start talking over her and just kind of ignored her. It's like, okay, we're going to King Wasabi. And that's that on that. And they all go off to leave. And Angel's just sitting there crying. And then we see that Monique, Ashley, and Jazzy are trying to console her due to the pile-on. And like, Monique, I'm glad she stepped up as an OG to kind of try to console her. Jazzy, same thing. She's not OG, but I'm glad she came to console her. And Ashley, well, Ashley kind of revealed herself last episode or 2 episodes ago where she was just like, let's have fun, have a good time. Nothing's that deep. Ashley does this stuff and doesn't take any of it seriously. Like, she disassociates. Same thing with Giselle. But they've been on the show for a long time. And for someone like an Angel, I don't think she's capable of doing this. And unfortunately, this episode brought me back to how I felt about Angel initially. I don't think she's meant for this show. It's good to get a different energy, but if she described how much of an empath she is, being an empath and being on toxic reality TV don't go together, honey. I hate to call a thing a thing. If you're truly that much of an empath, you should not be on this show. Like, I feel like I'm a little bit of an empath, probably not as much as Angel, but I feel like I have a little bit of that empath in me, enough where I would never be able to be on reality TV. I would never. And I also don't want someone else to own my rights in perpetuity and be able to write a narrative of me that may not be the true accurate narrative, and it's just fitting a storyline. And side note, speaking of that, Angel being a horrible host, this is horrible for her business because she's basically in a hosting business, and this is highlighting her in not a good way. So I don't know if she would come back based off of this, because it really does not give. They kind of did her dirty a little bit, depending on who did the accommodations for all this. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's move on. Child, one more thing. What was Wendy doing in those Mary J. Blige boots walking around? This season with Wendy and some of her fashion choices, I know she's trying to give us fashion, but like, she does it in the time where it's not appropriate. You are in Colorado. This is not a runway, friend. And also, too, you had to do a lot of walking. And you're wearing those shoes. And child, towards the end, those shoes were wearing her out. Okay? Anyway, I wanted to call that out. Anyway, bye now. Also, I wrote that Giselle's being a super mean girl this whole entire time. Giselle was doing a lot. But anyway. So they do finally get to King Wasabi, which is like the shop that everyone goes to. We've seen it a ton of times in Beverly Hills because them being in Aspen. And then we also have seen it in Salt Lake City because I think they went to Aspen. I'm pretty sure they went to Aspen, maybe. Or maybe they might have a King Wasabi. Do they have one in Salt Lake? Anyway, we've seen this shop before. So they're all there. They're having a great time. Angel and Kay do end up, like, they're shopping. We're seeing the price tags, which I'm loving that we're getting the price tags again. Like, okay, they're spending. The girls are spending. Wendy's spending. Sorry, it was right there. We'll talk about it a little bit. So then Angel and Kay, they talk while they're at the shop, and Kay is trying to console Angel one-on-one. And Kay feels horrible for Angel because the ladies were not letting her talk. They were not letting her apologize. They were talking over her. They were being mad disrespectful. But at the same time, I kind of understand it because they're mad. But again, I really would like to know whose accommodations was that? Was that partially productions or was that all Angel? If it's partially production, this is really messed up that they're really giving her all this heat. But if it was all Angel, she kind of deserves it. Because outside of this is not indicative of her being a good host. She never checked in on them once. Anyway, so the ladies spend the money, like I said, and then Ashley goes behind the bar because there's a bar, and we talk about Ashley being a bartender. We don't care. And then anytime Ashley has a chance to be overly sexual, she's going to do it, and it gives me the ick. So she ends up making this drink. It's called Pink Pussy, and they take a shot, and she's describing it and everything. And it's just like, Ashley, I don't know why she does this, but it disgusts me. She is serious. Her and Michael Darby are the same person, and it's just gross. Anyway, so then after that, all the women talk about what they purchased, and we see the price tags and what they purchased, and pretty much everyone spent something, except for, and Wendy, her thing was like $200 something, which isn't bad. And I was actually like, okay, that's very good. You didn't spend too much money. So she got her daughter these turquoise earrings, and they were $200 something, which not bad. Not bad at all. That's regular spending. Like, I would probably got those earrings. You know what I mean? So it's not bad. Everyone else, a lot of the women were like in the thousands. Angel clearly spent the most because, I think Angel actually has the most money out of all the women on the show. And then Stacey and Monique were just like, yeah, we didn't spend anything. And Stacey's like, I know how to stay rich, and that's not spend. And so it's giving Stacey's frugal, and I love that for her. We actually see a flashback of Stacey being frugal in the past episode where Kay was handing out money for them to gamble on the race betting, and she was like, I pocket that $20. I get it. Anyway, so then from there, they go upstairs, like on like the roof deck, like the rooftop, and they run to Mo from Beverly Hills. And Giselle and her face lit all the way up. And we could tell Mo was Giselle's type. But Giselle in her confessional, she's like, I will never go there just because I don't want no Beverly Hills versus Potomac beef. And I get that. In Giselle's case especially because, and I actually believe her when it comes to this because she's a face Potomac and she would have to answer to all the women. And she actually elaborates this a little bit further in the after show, how she would have to answer to Dorit, Erica. She's like, I don't want that smoke. I don't want those problems. And so she never would. But she was like, if it wasn't for Kyle, though, we would have already slept together. I was like, oh. She's like, he is a very handsome man. And I was like, we could tell. And then Ashley, Stacey here at this moment was cracking me up because Stacey was like, oh, I can see Ashley likes him. I'm going to hook him. I'm going to hook them up. Because as long as Ashley is with someone else, with another man or someone else, she could leave me alone. And I was like, yes, that part. Give her something to do. or something or someone to do. Give her someone to do so she could leave you alone. And so Stacey and her Aries energy was coming out strong. She was being a ring woman trying to make it happen. And of course Mo, because Mo is kind of a hoe out right now. He's being a hoe in these streets. He's like, okay. And Ashley this whole entire time on this screen is trying to act like she wouldn't do this. Girl, you are not above any of this. You are the messiest person on this show, and you have no sense of boundaries. I think the only reason why you are not going further with this is because it was on camera. If this was not on camera, you best believe Ashley would have done this. She would have done something messy like this because she herself is that messy. And it could have been a storyline for her. She is so thirsty for a storyline, she would have done it. So basically, Stacey almost made it happen, and Giselle cock blocked the hell out of Ashley and threw her under the bus. She's like, no, y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. And actually, Ashley and Giselle kind of got into it a little bit because Ashley was kind of offended that, because she kind of embarrassed Ashley in front of, she kind of little girl Giselle, little girl Ashley in front of Mo. Stacey didn't feel a way about it because Stacey wasn't trying to hook up with Mo. But in the after show, Giselle's trying to make it sound like Stacey would hook up with Mo. And yes, she would. I feel like a lot of the women would, but again, for one, Stacey's with Timu now, so she's not going to do that. They're back together. Number two, I don't think Stacey is truly that messy, because that would come to light too much. I think she would be okay with someone who is messy, like Ashley do it. That's why she was trying to make Ashley do it. But I think she was actually trying to do that for more than one reason, because Stacey isn't dumb. I saw the play and I loved it. But anyway, so then there are some of the women that are taking caviar bumps. Giselle's judging it. But it's like, girl, stop it. Giselle was miserable this episode and kind of getting on my nerves. I kind of did like that Giselle and Ashley kind of got into it a little bit. That I was happy about a little bit. And then towards the end of the episode, Angel's trying to make accommodations and stuff for next week. Or not next week, but the next day. And Giselle's like, well, no, I already have plans for all of us. Giselle basically took over the trip after this. She's like, yeah, no, we're going to stay the 4 seasons. And after the 4 seasons, then we're going to like have brunch the next day. And then we're going to go home. And like Angel's like, hold on. That's not what we're doing. I have plans for the next day. And Giselle's like, well, that's not up to you. It's up to the rest of the ladies. And that's where the episode ends. Thank God it end as a to be continued, but it kind of was that, because we're going to get, I saw the sneak preview for the next episode, and they're going to kind of go more into it, and then we'll figure out. From based on what I saw from next episode, this trip did not end well at all. Like, this was just a bad trip. Like, none of it went according to plan. So, but anyway, that does conclude this episode of Potomac. Let me know what you guys thought. I am going to try to have this up, and then I'll be back to regularly scheduled program when it comes to the reunion for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm filming this on Tuesday. And then, yeah, we'll be back to regular scheduled program. I don't really have as much going on. Thank you for everyone who's been patient with me, because I know I was behind a little bit when it came to Beverly Hills because of me being out of town. So, yeah. But anyway, that does conclude this review. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl, Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And I will see you next time. Bye.